Good words do not last long unless they amount to something. This quote was part of the speech I'm about to give by Native American Chief Joseph. He was a very inspirational person and accomplished many things for the Native American people. What I want you to take from this speech is that your words do not mean anything unless they are put to action. At last I was granted permission to come to Washington. I am glad I came. I have shaken hands with a good many friends, but there are some things I want to know which no one seems able to explain. I cannot understand how the government sends a man out to fight us, as it did General Miles, and then breaks his word. Such a government has something wrong about it. I cannot understand how so many different chiefs are allowed to talk so many different ways and promise so many different things. I have seen the Great Father Chief, the next Great Chief, the Commissioner Chief, the Law Chief, and many other law chiefs. And they all say that they are my friends, and that I shall have justice. But while all their mouths talk right, I do not understand why nothing is done for my people. I have heard talk and talk, but nothing is done. Good words do not last long unless they amount to something. Words do not pay for my dead people. They do not pay for my country, now overrun by white men. They do not protect my father's grave. They do not pay for my horses and cattle. Good words will not give my people a home where they can live in peace and take care of themselves. All men were made by the same Great Spirit Chief. They are all brothers. The earth is the mother of all people, and all people should have equal rights upon it. When I think of our condition, my heart is heavy. I see men of my own race treated as outlaws and driven from country to country or shot down like animals. I know that my race must change. We cannot hold our own with the white men as we are. We only ask an even chance to live as other men live. We ask to be recognized as men. We ask that the same law shall work alike on all men. Let me be a free man, free to travel, free to stop, free to work, free to trade where I choose, free to choose my own teachers, free to think, talk, and act for myself.
This speech, given by Tony R. Curry to the 2007 Indian Hill Bears football team, talks about how you don't have to be the smartest, strongest, or biggest to succeed. I hope you take from this the message that when you have a desire, you don't have to be the greatest to succeed. Most of you guys know I try to be a spiritual guy. I'm not telling you what to believe, I'm not telling you how to believe, but every day, at some point during the day, I open up the book that I believe in, and I just pop through a page. And I look through it. Sometimes that page gives me great insight. And I'm going to tell you what I opened up to today. It's first term, and you don't have to be a story about this, you know what I'm telling you. The first thing I opened up to was a story about David. David was the son of Samuel, one of the greatest kings of Israel. What happened with David is he had 8 brothers. And when Samuel's time came to lose power, everyone was looking at his sons. He had 8. David was the least likely, but the one chosen. He was the youngest, the smallest, the weakest. He was the one selected. Well, you might say, why am I telling you that tonight? Why do I need to hear that? Here's why. I'm going to tell you why. David was the least likely candidate. There are a lot of people out there who think you are the least likely candidate to be successful. David was chosen because he had an intangible, and that intangible was his heart. Now they're bigger, they got athletes, they got guys going to Division I schools, and we can see that, and so can everyone else. But no one can see the intangible with us. There's a reason I opened up to that passage. We gotta make that happen tonight. Be the intangible tonight. Here we go.
After being eliminated from the Little League World Series, the Cumberland Americans heard their coach, David Belial, tell them how great they were. Instead of telling them what they did wrong, he wanted them to make them feel great and wanted them to make them feel like they did an amazing job. I hope that the students take away that it is good to feel well about the things you did right and not feel bad about what you did wrong. Heads up high. I've got to see your eyes, guys. There's no disappointment in your effort in this whole tournament or the whole season. It's been an incredible journey. We fought. Look at the score. 8-7, 12 to 10 hits. We came to the last out. We didn't quit. That's us. That's us. The only reason why I'll probably end up shedding a tear is because this will be the last time I'll end up coaching you guys. But I'm going to take with me, the coaching staff is going to take with them, and you're going to take away one thing that no other team can provide, and that's pride. Pride. You're going to take that for the rest of your lives. What you provided for the town of Cumberland, you had the whole place jumping. You had the whole state jumping. You had all of New England jumping. You had ESPN jumping, okay? You want to know why? They like fighters. They like sportsmen. They like guys who play the game the right way. If everyone played the game of baseball like the Cumberland Americans, this would be the greatest sport. The lessons you guys have learned along the journey, you're never going to forget. We're going to have some more fun. We still have 2 more days of fun. When you walk around this ballpark in the next 2 days, people are going to look at you and say, hey, you guys are awesome. Everyone has said, you guys are awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Absolutely awesome. It's okay to cry because we're not going to play baseball together anymore, but we're going to be friends forever. Our Little League careers have ended on the highest note possible, okay? There's only going to be one team that walks out of here Little League World Series champions. Only one. We got down to the nitty-gritty. One of the best teams in the world. Think about that for a second. In the world, right? I love you guys. I'm going to love you forever. You've given me the most precious moment in my coaching and athletic career, and I've been coaching for a long time. A long time. I'm getting to be an old man. I need memories like this. I need kids like this. You're all my boys. You're the boys of summer.
This speech was given by Derek Jeter at Yankee Stadium before the last game of his career. In this speech, he showed appreciation to everyone that supported him throughout his 20 years playing baseball. I hope this speech shows you how great the game of baseball is and how it can change someone's life. It's kind of hard to believe that 20 seasons have gone by so quickly. There are so many people I want to thank, and I'll have a chance to do that over the next few weeks, both publicly and privately. I want to take a brief moment to thank the Steinbrenner family and Mr. George Steinbrenner for giving me the opportunity to play for the only organization I've ever wanted to play for. I want to thank my family and friends who are all over. Thanks for all the love and support throughout the years, through the good times, and more importantly, through the tough times. Thank you for that very much. My managers, coaches, trainers, teammates, both current and former, I've been blessed to play with the best. I wouldn't want to compete without any of you guys, so thank you for that very much. Lastly, most importantly, I want to thank you, fans. Anyone that's here today, anyone at home watching, or anyone that's ever been here during the course of my 20 seasons. You all watched me grow up over the last 20 years. I watched you too. Some of you guys are getting old too. But I want to thank you for helping me feel like a kid for the last 20 years. In my opinion, I've had the greatest job in the world. I've had the chance to be the shortstop for the New York Yankees, and there's only one of those. I've always felt as though my job was to provide joy and entertainment for you guys, but it doesn't compare to what you brought me. So thank you for that very much. I love what I've done, I love what I do, and I love doing it for you. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much. We've got a game to play.
William Faulkner's Nobel Prize acceptance speech expresses the writer's job to help the reader understand the human spirit. This speech reveals the best qualities of man. The poet's duty is to communicate these things in his writing. As you listen to Faulkner's speech, never forget what we are capable of: courage, honor, and love. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel that this award was not made to me as a man, but to my work. A life's work in the agony and sweat of the human spirit. Not for glory, and least of all for profit, but to create from the materials of the human spirit something which did not exist before. So this award is only mine in trust. Our tragedy today is a general and universal physical fear, so long sustained by now that we can even bear. Because of this, the young man or woman writing today has forgotten the problems of the human heart in conflict with itself, which alone can make good writing, because only that is worth writing about, worth the agony and the sweat. He must learn them again. He must teach himself that the basis of all things is to be afraid. and teaching himself that, forget it forever, leaving no room in his workshop for anything but the old truths of the heart. Until he does so, he labors under a curse. Until he relearns these things, he will write as though he stood among and watched the end of man. I decline to accept the end of man. I believe that man will not merely endure, he will prevail. Not because he among creatures has an inexhaustible voice, but because he has a spirit, capable of compassion and sacrifice and endurance. The poets, the writer's duty is to write about these things. It is his privilege to help man endure by reminding him of the courage and honor and hope and pride and compassion and pity and sacrifice, which have been the glory of his past. The poet's voice need not merely be a record of man. It can be one of the props, the pillars to help him endure and prevail.
The speech "We Shall Fight on the Beaches" was given by Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, to the House of Commons and the Parliament of the United Kingdom on June 4, 1940. In his speech, Winston Churchill describes the United Kingdom's determination and commitment to do whatever it takes to defend their island home from the ever-expanding Nazi rule. I'll be reading excerpts from the speech in which Winston Churchill rallies the citizens of the United Kingdom, especially its young men, who will be called upon to risk their lives to defend their nation. Please listen to his choice of words. Mr. Churchill must convince his audience that the United Kingdom has the strength and resolve to defend itself against the powerful Nazi army. When we consider how much greater would be our advantage in defending the air above this island against an overseas attack, I must say that I find these facts, our shared basis, upon which practical and reassuring thoughts may rest. I will pay my tribute to these young men. The great French army was very largely, for the time being, cast back and disturbed by the onrush of a few thousand armored vehicles. May it also be that the cause of civilization itself will be defended by the skill and devotion of a few thousand airmen. There never has been, I suppose, in all the world, in all the history of war, such an opportunity for youth. The Knights of the Round Table, Crusaders, all fall back into the past, not only distant, but prosaic. These young men, going forth, every morn to guard their native land, know that we stand for, holding in their hands these instruments of colossal and shouting power, of whom may be said that every morn brought forth a noble chance, and every chance brought forth a noble night. I have myself full confidence that if all do their duty, if nothing is neglected, and if the best arrangements are made, as they are being made, we shall prove ourselves once again able to defend our island home, to ride out the storm of war, and to outlive the menace of tyranny, if necessary for years, if necessary alone. At any rate, this is what we're going to try to do. That is the resolve of His Majesty's government, every man of them. That is the will of the Parliament and the nation. The British Empire and the French Republic, linked together in their cause and need, will defend to the death their native soil, aiding each other like good comrades to the utmost of their strength. Even though large tracts of Europe, many old famous states have fallen, or may fall, into the grip of the Gestapo and all the odious apparatus of Nazi rule, we shall not flag or fail. We shall go on to the end. We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend this island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender. And even if, for a moment which I do not believe, this island, or a large part of it, were subjugated and starving, Then our empire beyond the seas would carry on the struggle for us, armed and guarded by the British fleet, until, in God's good time, the New World, with all its power and might, steps forth to the rescue and the liberation of the old.
I'm going to show you how great I am by Muhammad Ali is about perseverance and understanding that being perfect is not about winning, but is about being true to yourself and knowing that you did all you could. I hope while you're listening to this, you think about how you can achieve your goals and know that you tried your best and that you never gave up. Don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something. You got a dream, you got to protect it. If people can't do something themselves, they're going to tell you can't do it. If you want something, go get it. Period. Great moments are born from great opportunity. And that's what you have tonight. That's what you earned here tonight. I want you to understand something. To me, being perfect is not about the scoreboard out there. It's not about winning. It's about your relationship to yourself and your friends. It's about being able to look at your friends in the eye and know that you didn't let them down because you told them the truth. And that the truth is, you did everything you could. There wasn't one more thing you could have done. Can you live in that moment as best as you can, with clear eyes and love in your heart? Let me tell you something you already know. The world is not all sunshines and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are. It will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. There's nobody that's going to hit harder than life. But it is not about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you get hit and keep moving forward. That is how winning is done. So if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take those hits and not be willing to point fingers saying it's because of you or anybody. Cowards do that, and you're better than that.
Conan O'Brien gave this speech in 2011 as commencement speech to the Dartmouth class of 2011. In his speech, he's trying to say that life isn't fair and you have to work to get to where you want to go. He's also trying to say that you can't be fictional anymore and you have to take the first step into the real world. Good morning and congratulations to the Dartmouth class of 2011. Today, you have achieved something special. Something only 92% of Americans will ever know. A college diploma. That's right. With your college diploma, you now have a crushing advantage over 8% of the workforce. I'm talking about dropout losers like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and Mark Zuckerberg. Incidentally, speaking of Mr. Zuckerberg, only at Harvard would someone have to create a massive social network just to talk with somebody in the next room. My first job as your commencement speaker is to illustrate to you that life isn't fair. For example, you have worked tirelessly for 4 years to earn the diploma you will be receiving this weekend. That was great. But Dartmouth is giving me the same degree for interviewing the fourth lead in Twilight. Deal with it. Another example that life isn't fair, if it does rain, the powerful rich people on stage get the 10. Deal with it. This college was named after the 2nd Earl of Dartmouth, a good friend of the 3rd Earl of UC Santa Cruz, and the Duke of the Barbizon School of Beauty. Your school motto is Vox Clamantis in Deserto, which means voice crying out in the wilderness. This is easily the most pathetic school motto I have ever heard. Apparently, it narrowly beat out silently weeping in Dick's drop and whimpering in long sleeves without pants. Your school colors green, and this color was chosen by Frederick Mather in 1867 because, and this is true, I looked it up, it was the only color that hadn't been taken already. I can't remember the last time I heard anything so sad. Dartmouth, you have an inferiority complex, and you shouldn't. You have graduated more fictitious Americans than any other college. Meredith Grey from Gray's Anatomy, Pete Campbell from Mad Men, Michael Corleone from The Godfather. Well, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, well, you've got Dr. Seuss. Guess what? We're all tired of hearing about Dr. Seuss. The man on Bokloozle with Snoodle in the literary community. That's cheating. No, Dartmouth, you must stand tall. Raise your heads high and feel proud, because if Harvard, Yale, and Princeton are your self-involved, vain, name-dropping older brothers, you are the cool, confident, lacrosse-playing younger sibling who knows how to have fun. Brown, of course, is your weird sister who never leaves her room. And Penn, Columbia, and Cornell, well, frankly, who really cares? I see there are many parents here today, and I have real advice for you. Parents, you should write this down. Many of your children you haven't seen much in 4 years. Well, now, you're about to see them every day when they come out of the basement to tell you the Wi-Fi isn't working. If your child majored in fine arts or philosophy, you have good reason to be worried. The only place where they are now really qualified to get a job is ancient Greece. So good luck with that degree. And parents, I have to tell you this. You will spend more money framing your child's diploma than they will earn in the next 6 months. It's tough out there, so be patient. The only people hiring right now are Panera Bread and Starbucks. Yes, you parents must be patient because it is indeed a grim job market out there. And one of the reasons it's so tough finding work is that aging baby boomers like you refuse to leave their jobs. But this is not a time for negativity. No, I came here today because, believe it or not, I actually have something real to tell you. 11 years ago, I gave an address to a graduating class at Harvard. Back in 2000, I told those graduates, don't be afraid to fail. Well, now, after a massive, public, and embarrassing career failure in my own life, I am here to tell you that though you should not fear failure, you should do your very best to avoid it. Nietzsche famously said, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But what he failed to stress is that it almost killed you. Disappointment stinks, and for driven, successful people like yourselves, it's disorienting. What Nietzsche should have said is whatever doesn't kill you makes you watch a lot of Cartoon Network and sleep in until 2 in the afternoon. What I learned is one simple truth. There are few things more liberating in this life than having your worst fear realized. Your path at 22 will not necessarily be your path at 32 or 42. One's dream is constantly evolving, rising and falling, changing course. Failure is not easy, but if you accept your misfortune and handle it right, your perceived failure can become a catalyst for profound reinvention. Back in 2000, I told graduates to not be afraid to fail. And I still believe that. But today I tell you that whether you fear it or not, disappointment will come. The beauty is that disappointment, you can gain clarity. And with clarity comes conviction and true originality. Many of you here today are gaining your diploma at this Ivy League school because you have committed yourself to a dream and worked hard to achieve it. And while there is no greater cliche in a commencement address than follow your dream, I'm here to tell you that whatever you think your dream is now, it will probably change. And that's okay. I have told you many things here today, most of it foolish, but some of it true. I'd like to end my address by saying to you, work hard, be kind, and amazing things will happen. As I stand here today, I have never believed this more. Thank you very much, and congratulations, Dartmouth class of 2011.
When people learn to use their words for the correct reasons, Matthew Stern, the speaker of The Power of Your Words, believes that the world can become a better place when people are focused on building each other up to solve worldwide problems. I want everybody to understand the message that the power of your words can be used for much more than just communication. I've learned many things in the years of my life, and the most important lesson I've learned, and the one I want to leave with you all, is this: your words have power. You can feel this power the moment you step in front of an audience. Every eye is focused on you, and every ear is tuned to the sound of your voice. The audience is waiting, anticipating the sound that will come from your lips. Now that is a tremendous amount of power, and that's also why so many people are afraid to speak in public. So it frightens us. What if we sound stupid? What if I screw up? What if people ignore me? Or what if they think I'm wrong? I'm here to tell you that you do deserve this power. When you learn to use your words for the correct reasons, You can improve your life and the lives of many people around you. Why do your words have power? Why are you so influential? Whenever somebody asks you to speak, it's because they believe you have something of value to offer. It doesn't have to be a formal speech like this. It can be at a business meeting around a conference table. It can even be at a department store. The other day, my friend and I were shopping at Target, and a little girl came up to us and asked, "Can you help me find my mom?" That little girl thought we could solve her problem simply because we're adults. I believe everyone has some special expertise that can help someone. This expertise can come from your education, your work, your hobbies, even the era in which you were born can give you some social insights. This wisdom and knowledge can be helpful to someone else. We know from comic books that the power of words can be abused. The same power Dr. Martin Luther King used to inspire a nation to fight for justice and equality is the same power Adolf Hitler used to lead a nation to genocide and self-destructive war. It is critical that we learn to use the power of our words wisely. Here are 3 ways. First, we must learn to speak the truth. We must never misuse our words to mislead, deceive, or manipulate. Second, we must speak to build others up. Our words are so powerful that they can inspire others to achieve things they never thought possible. Or they can destroy dreams, destroy the full sense of self-worth, and even destroy their desire to live. Third, we must speak to provide solutions. With as many problems as this world has, there are an even greater number of people who tend to sit back and complain. We must be the ones to provide solutions. Even if our ideas aren't that good, the fact that we're even coming up with ideas will help others to do the same. Together, we can find the right solution. Every one of you has been given a special gift. It's a gift you've earned from your work, your education, and a life of experiences. It's a gift you can hand to others to help them. This is what gives you and your words your power. Don't be afraid of this power. Use it to speak the truth, build others up, and provide solutions.
President Ronald Reagan delivered his remarks at the Brandenburg Gate on June 12, 1987 in West Berlin. This speech is about the Berlin Wall and how Reagan wants one of the last remaining symbols of communism taken down. The message of this speech is that no matter what happens, freedom always triumphs. I hope to communicate that keeping people restricted and without certain freedoms is not good for any society. We come to Berlin, we American presidents, because it is our duty to speak in this place of freedom. Behind me stands a wall that encircles the free sectors of this city, part of a vast system of barriers that divides the entire continent of Europe. From the Baltic south, these barriers cut across Germany in a gash of barbed wire, concrete, dog runs, and guard towers. Where 4 decades ago there was rubble, today in West Berlin there is the greatest industrial output of any city in Germany. From devastation, from utter ruin, you Berliners have, in freedom, rebuilt a city that once again ranks as one of the greatest on earth. In the 1950s, Khrushchev predicted, "We will bury you." But in the West today, we see a free world that's achieved a level of prosperity and well-being unprecedented in all human history. In the communist world, we see failure, technological backwardness, declining standards of health, even want of the most basic kind, too little food. After these 4 decades, then there stands before the entire world one great and inescapable conclusion. Freedom leads to prosperity. Freedom replaces the ancient hatreds among nations with comedy and peace. Freedom is the victor. We welcome change and openness, for we believe that freedom and security go together, that the advance of human liberty can only strengthen the cause of world peace. There is one sign the Soviets can make that would be unmistakable, that would advance dramatically the cause of freedom and peace. General Secretary Gorbachev, if you seek peace, if you seek prosperity for the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe, if you seek liberalization, come to this gate. General Secretary Gorbachev, open this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Yes, across Europe, this wall will fall, for it cannot withstand faith, it cannot withstand truth, the wall cannot withstand freedom. Thank you, and God bless you all.
2001, George Bush addressed the country about how we were attacked by terrorists. This was one of the most devastating days in the history of the United States. He tells the country that these terrorists failed to hurt our nation. It gives Americans hope and lets us know that everything is going to be okay. Today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack in a series of deadly and deliberate terrorist acts. The victims were in airplanes or in their offices. Secretaries, businessmen and women, military and federal workers, moms and dads, friends and neighbors. Thousands of lives were suddenly ended by evil, despicable acts of terror. The pictures of airplanes flying into buildings, fires burning, huge structures collapsing, have filled us with disbelief, terrible silence, and a quiet, unyielding anger. These acts of mass murder were intended to frighten our nation into chaos and retreat, but they have failed. Our country is strong. A great people has been moved to defend a great nation. Terrorist attacks can shake the foundations of the biggest buildings. They cannot touch the foundations of America. These acts can shatter steel. They cannot dent the steel of American resolve. America was targeted for the attacks because we're the brightest beacon for freedom and opportunity in the world. No one will keep that light from shining. Today, our nation saw evil, the very worst of human nature, and we responded with the very best of America. With the daring of our rescue workers, with the caring for strangers and neighbors, and all who came to give blood and help in any way they could. The search is underway for those who committed these acts. We will make no distinction between the terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbor them. Tonight, I ask for your prayers, for all children whose worlds have been shattered, for all whose sense of safety and security has been threatened. And I pray that they will be comforted by a power far greater than any of us, spoken through the ages in Psalm 23. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. This is a day when all Americans from every walk of life unite in our resolve for justice and peace. America has stood down enemies before, and we will do so this time. None of us will forget this day, yet we will go forward to defend freedom and all that is good and just in this world. Thank you, good night, and God bless America.
My Speech by Jerry Rice is his induction speech into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It is about him explaining his early life and how it prepared him to be one of the best wide receivers to ever play in the NFL. What I want you to take away from this speech is that you need to let go of your fears and you can't be afraid to fail. Thank you, God, for allowing us to all travel here safely. I had never been on an airplane until I was drafted by the 49ers, and I left Crawford, Mississippi for a long stomach-churning flight to San Francisco. I was scared to death, but excited at the same time. Scared about surviving the flight, but excited like I am now because I knew I was joining a great team who had already won 2 Super Bowls. And of course, we went on to win 3 more. When I was a kid, I had these embarrassing huge hands that I was always hiding in my pockets. And I was always running, even before I played sports. I didn't even know why. I ran everywhere. But I guess I was preparing myself for something, destined for something, but I didn't know what. In the summertime and on holidays, I would help my father lay bricks for homes and businesses. We started at 5 a.m. and finished after dark. It was hot, hard work. My brothers and I would be the supply chains for bricks, and many times I would be the last link between the bricks and my father. Sometimes I would balance myself on the scaffolding 2 stories up and catch bricks thrown to me from the ground. I didn't want to let my father down. I was afraid to fail. And I'm here to tell you that failure is the engine that has driven me throughout my entire life. It flies in the faces of all these sports psychologists who say you have to let go of your fears to be successful and that negative thoughts diminish performance. But not wanting to disappoint my parents and later my coaches, teammates, and fans is what pushed me to be successful. My dad was a hard man. I never saw him cry and he didn't say I love you, but like men of his generation, he expressed it in other ways. He taught us about responsibility at an early age. I miss him, and I know he would be very proud of me today. I wish you were here, Dad. I love you. Today I feel as if this honor of being inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame was not just made to me, but to my work, to my sweat and sacrifice of all those who carried me to the steps of this hallowed ground. A lot of emotion that I kept submerged bubbled to the surface when my name was finally called for induction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm like that guy who jumps off of a high-rise building, and every floor he passes on the way down, he says, "So far, so good." But this is finally it. There are no more routes to run, no more touchdowns to score, no more records to set. That young boy from Mississippi has finally stopped running. Now let me stand here and catch my breath. Let me inhale it all one more time. Thank you.
Shortly before passing away, Maya Angelou inspired all the listeners to NPR's Fresh Air. Lovingly, but with a hint of sadness in her deep, sonorous voice, she painted a picture of her early life, when she was unable to speak. Her poetic speech communicates morals that I hold dear, which are to be grateful, strive for the impossible, and continue to be resilient against all odds. I find in my poetry and prose the rhythms and imagery of the best. I mean, when I'm at my best. Of the good Southern preachers, the lyricism of spirituals, and the directness of gospel songs, and the mystery of blues are in my music or in my poetry, or I miss everything. There's a blues. I was just thinking when I said the mystery of blues. I hadn't thought about it before. There's a 19th century blues that asks this question. Have you ever had the blues so bad you felt them in the palms of your hands? Now that's mystery, and that's poetry, and that's what I try for. And I would go into a room and just eat up sound. I memorized so many poets. I just had sheaves of poetry. Still do. I listen to the accents and I love the way human beings sound. There is no human sound which is unbeautiful to me. And so I'm able to learn languages because I love the way people talk. And then the guys would come from Mississippi and a portion of Louisiana, and they had a different sound. They would say, "Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go back to New Orleans. And if you've been where I've been, you'll see. Baby, please don't go." And it was way at the back of the mouth, you see. And I would listen, just fantastic. I still get excited about any human being speaking or singing. Well, Miss Flowers, a lady of my town, had started me to reading when I was about 8. And when I was 11 and a half, she said to me one day, I used to have a tablet on which I wrote answers. She said to me, "Do you love poetry?" And I wrote yes. It was a silly question from Miss Flowers, and she knew. She told me, "You do not love poetry. You will never love until you speak it, until it comes across your tongue, through your teeth, over your lips. You will not love poetry." So I ran out of her house. I thought I'd never go back there again. She was trying to take my friend. She came to the store, and she would catch me and say, "You do not love poetry, not until you speak it." And finally, I did take a book of poetry, and I went under the house and tried to speak. And I could.